My name is Amina. I am a daughter, a sister, a believer. What I am about to tell you happened on the 14th night of Dhul Hijjah, 3 years ago. I was 26 years old. I speak now not to create division, not to shock you, and not to argue faith against faith. I speak because I was shown something, and once you are shown, silence becomes a kind of betrayal. This is my near-death experience. And before you judge what I saw, please hear what I felt. 2. Ordinary life before death. Before that night, my life was simple, quiet, devoted. I grew up in a small home, filled with prayer rugs worn thin by generations of knees. My mother used to wake me before dawn, her voice soft as folded cotton. "Come, Amina," she would whisper. "God is listening." I believed God lived in discipline, in obedience, in getting everything right. I fasted when I was supposed to. I covered when I was supposed to. I memorized verses until they lived behind my eyes. And when I was finally able to go on Hajj, I believed, truly believed, that this was the safest place on earth. The holiest ground. A place where angels counted every footstep. I thought holiness meant protection. That belief would shatter. 3. The medical event/death. That night, the crowd was thick. Bodies moving like one breathing organism. Heat pressed into my skin. The sound, thousands of voices murmuring prayers, rose and fell like an ocean. I remember feeling dizzy. Not fear, just confusion. As if my body had stepped half a second behind my soul. Then chaos. I won't describe what happened. I don't need to. I will only say this. Something sacred inside me broke. And the world went very quiet. Not suddenly, but gently, like a candle being blown out by someone who didn't want to wake a child. I remember thinking, this can't be happening here. And then I remember thinking nothing at all. My heart stopped. Later, doctors would tell me it was shock, trauma layered on exhaustion and dehydration. They would say my pulse vanished for just over 3 minutes. But what happened in those minutes felt like eternity folded into a breath. 4. Out-of-body experience. The first thing I noticed was silence. Not empty silence. Living silence. I was above my body, looking down at a woman I recognized only by her scarf. She looked small, fragile, unfinished. People were shouting. Hands were moving. Someone was crying. But none of it touched me. I felt weightless, like pain had been a coat I didn't realize I could remove. Then I felt something else. Not judgment. Not anger. Grief. But not mine. It felt like the grief of the universe itself, deep, ancient, and aching with love. And then light. Not blinding. Not harsh. It came like dawn through closed eyelids. Warm. Personal. It wrapped around me, and I knew, without words, that I was not being pulled away. I was being received. That is where part 1 ends. Not in terror. Not in confusion. But in the moment I realized, I was still known. I was still held. And I was not alone. 5. Encounter with Jesus. The light did not rush me. It waited. That is the first thing I need you to understand. It didn't demand my attention. It didn't pull me forward. It simply was steady, patient, endlessly kind. As I drifted closer, the light softened, like fog touched by sunlight. And then I realized the light was not a place. It was someone. I didn't see him all at once. First, I felt him. A presence that knew me before I knew myself. A presence that carried no disappointment, no shock, no expectation. Then I saw his hands. They were strong, but gentle, like hands that heal animals and hold crying children. I noticed scars, but they did not feel like wounds. They felt like doors. When I looked up, my breath caught. It was Jesus. Not the Jesus of paintings. Not pale. Not distant. His eyes held galaxies of sadness and oceans of mercy at the same time. Eyes that had seen everything and still chosen love. I expected fear. I expected to be corrected. Instead, he smiled, not wide, not dramatic, but the kind of smile that says, "I'm glad you're here." I fell to my knees. Not because he told me to, because my soul recognized truth. "I don't belong here," I said. My voice sounded like wind through glass. He knelt too. That alone shattered me. "I know," he said softly, "but you are welcome." His voice was not loud. It did not echo. It entered me like warmth entering cold hands. "I was taught," I began, trembling. "I was taught to fear you." He nodded. "I know," he said again. There was no offense in him. Only sorrow for how love had been misrepresented. 6, what he showed me. He reached out, not to pull me, but to invite me. The moment our hands touched, the world unfolded. I saw Earth from above, not as borders and flags, but as wounds and light. I saw people praying in different ways, different languages, different postures. And I heard him say, "They are all reaching for me." Then I saw women. So many women. Some crying in silence. Some carrying shame that was never theirs. Some blamed for crimes committed against them. I felt their pain as a vibration in my chest. "This was not my will," Jesus said, and his voice carried grief, not anger, grief. Love never violates. I saw men too, lost, broken, taught to confuse power with worth. "Wounded people wound," he said. "But I came to heal, not to excuse." Then the visions changed. I saw a future shaped by fear, faith weaponized, hearts hardened, truth twisted into control. And then I saw another path. Quiet. Slower. Harder. A path where love was chosen over being right. Where mercy was louder than doctrine. Where survivors were believed. Where God was not used as a shield for cruelty. "This future is still possible," he said. "But it requires courage." 7, the message for humanity. I asked the question that burned inside me. "Why did you come to me?" He looked at me with such tenderness that I began to cry. "Because you were listening," he said. "And because your pain did not close your heart." Then he said words I will carry until my last breath. "Tell them I am not who they fear. Tell them I am closer than their breath. Tell them that no place, no act, no title makes me more or less present." I whispered, "What about holiness?" He smiled gently. "Holiness is love that refuses to turn away." I wanted to stay. Every part of me wanted to dissolve into that light forever. But he touched my forehead, soft, deliberate. "Not yet," he said. "Go back. Live. Speak. Love." And suddenly, I was falling. 8, return to the body. The fall stopped abruptly. Pain returned first. Not all at once, just a sharp, electric awareness, like my soul was being pushed back into a body that suddenly felt too small. My chest burned. Air slammed into my lungs, as if I had forgotten how to breathe. I heard voices, panicked, urgent, layered over each other. A pulse, "Wait, yes, she's back." I wanted to tell them I had been somewhere beautiful. I wanted to tell them I was not afraid anymore. But my lips wouldn't move. My eyes fluttered open to harsh white lights and unfamiliar ceilings. The holiness of the light I had just left felt far away now, but not gone. Not gone at all. Tears slid down the sides of my face, soaking into the thin hospital pillow. I wasn't crying from pain. I was crying because I had returned carrying something the world did not know how to name. 9, life transformation. Healing took time. My body healed faster than my mind. People spoke in whispers around me. Some avoided my eyes. Some looked at me with pity. A few told me God had tested me. A few told me I should be grateful to be alive and move on. But something in me would not accept silence, because the Jesus I met did not ask me to forget. He asked me to remember. I prayed differently after that. Not louder, not longer, but more honestly. I stopped praying at God and started resting with Him. Fear no longer sat at the center of my faith. Love did. I stopped believing God was waiting for me to fail. I began to believe He had been walking beside me all along. I didn't abandon my roots. I didn't convert in the way people expect stories like this to end. Instead, something deeper happened. My heart grew wider. I learned that truth is not fragile, that love does not compete, that God is not confined by names, languages, or the walls we build to feel safe. And I learned, most of all, that no suffering disqualifies you from being loved. If you're listening to this and you feel broken, if faith has ever been used to silence you, if you've been told God is disappointed in you, please hear me. That is not the voice I met. The voice I met knelt beside me. The voice I met did not ask where I came from, only whether I was willing to love. You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to agree with me. Just this: be gentle with one another. Believe the wounded. Choose love when certainty tempts you toward cruelty. And if you ever feel alone in the dark, remember this: light does not shout. Love does not force. And you are closer to God than you think. I came back so I could tell you that. And now, the rest is up to you.